Hey, welcome back to the Build It Basement. Today we're working on our Bondtech LGX mod for the afterburner on our VORON 2.4. We're going to be putting the Bondtech LGX with the printed mod parts onto that so we can fit it into the afterburner. Also installing a Slice Mosquito in this as well. Nothing too major here. Parts are already printed off, but I'm going to go over a couple little quick things and assemble, and so you can see everything go together, how everything goes together. And we're also going to have to make a harness to adapt to the Bondtech stepper, because it's a little bit different than the one I already had on my other stepper, which seems to be more normal than I'm used to. Bondtech actually has a 6-wire unit as opposed to a 4-wire unit on it, so a little bit different. So here we go. So here is all the magical goodness that goes into this. We got our Bondtech, I got a Mosquito, we got our printed ducts here, printed part to go onto the Bondtech, and I reprinted my fan shroud here. This was my old fan shroud, which had some breakage, and not on the extrusion, actually on the which calls them the layer lines, but actually straight across one. So there we go. They're actually vertical through there. So kind of upset about that. The obviously there's other things inside of that ABS, and there usually is. So it's not their fault necessarily that there's other things in the ABS, but their particular ABS seems a little bit brittle to me. So I'm not happy with that. The ABS from Amazon Basics seems to be awesome. It prints really well. Time will tell, I guess, but no fractures, no breaks or anything like that, and prints just as good, if not better than that. Did like that translucent blue, but what are you gonna do? The Bondtech, okay, so little mod there, printed off new cover, matchy matchy, nicey nicey. One thing, let's see here, to note, you will need to pre-print your adapter parts. So the Bondtech comes with a piece on here that allows it to mount directly to some items, but not exactly what we're doing today. So you're going to be printing this mod, which is available on Discord. It's not an official mod yet, as far as I can tell, but it seems to work just fine. So the way this works is this is a grooved, got rabbits in there, it's grooved to put in. So we're going to be mounting this in like this, like that. Okay. And before we do that, what I'm going to do is grab, thought I had, oh, here we go. Some bits and pieces here. Trying to remember which one of these was the lucky guy. So I think these guys are. I had pre-made up little sections of tube go into this. And it's nice to be able to see how they go. Yeah, anyhow. So before we get too deep into that, though, we'll get to that in a second. I'll give you some measurements on those. The first thing I would do is on your Bondtech, basically it comes with the connector on top. We want to move that connector off to the side, or at least I want to. That's as simple as, and remember here, that is as simple as just rotating this bad boy. So take out your, tighten those up. Those are loose on the back because my drag chain will actually be attaching to that. So these two come out like that, and move that over. 90 degrees. I will face it off to this side. Retighten it. This Bondtech LGX is, from a lot of people's point of view, one of the best extruders you can buy. And I did a quick video about that and kind of why it's called an LGX. Large gears inside of it. You can see them on either side. Seems pretty nice. So, printed part here. This is the modified piece that you'll need to print. Again, this is available on Discord. It's not an official part, but relatively easy to find on the Discord under user mods. So that goes in like that. Guys, and these are 15 millimeters. For those that are counting. Tighten that up a little bit more than that. There we go. Guess those are the wrong ones. I thought those are the right ones. It must not be. Try that again. Here. These are 20 millimeters. That feels a little light too. Nope. Too short as well. These are going long. Alright, was this 25 or 30? 25. So actually, these are the ones that came with it. That, huh? So these are 25 millimeter screws. Makes sense because the printed modified part is the exact same size, or depth-wise, of the one you're replacing. All right. Those are actually going all the way through into the stepper, so that's why they're so long. All right. On top of that, you do have these, and what were these, 20? Yes. You have 2 additional screw holes in the bottom. So front, bottom. These are probably overkill, but so that's held on there with 4 screws in total. Quite a bit. All right, so we spun that around. We put our adapter on there. So next step. Well, we have our mosquito step, right? Let's see here. Yeah, I guess we can build a mosquito, right? All right, so I did buy the heater cartridge directly from Slice. And came with some really nice leads on there, which I haven't decided if I'm going to keep or not. I've been told that the Lineo will handle up to, I believe, 100-watt heater cartridge. I find it really surprising because the gauge of wire on those isn't that big, but That's what I've been told. So I may just go with what's on there. We'll see. So let's see here. The mosquito slice. That's going to be mounted like that. This is going to be facing. Way is this going to be facing? Facing that way. So that's going to be on there like that. So I want my wires coming off this side. So the bar to our code side there. So the way they mount or hold in their heater and thermistor on these is with these set screws. Little guy right there. And I already had some boron nitride from other portions of this build. But basically it's a thermal paste. So this will allow your heater cartridge to basically transmit the heat energy into your hot end a little bit better. And this particular paste is manufactured in such a way that it'll handle very high temperatures. I think they don't tell you how much, but I believe it'll go up to 300, maybe somewhere around there. So I'm just gonna put way more than I wanted. That's gonna make a mess. So note to everybody that does that, comes out quick, very quick. So put that in. Actually going to see if I can get a little bit more on. How much of a mess we can make, right? All right, so that's that. And then we have our thermistor, also ordered. And that way I can keep my old setup right here the way it is. I had a little bit of an issue with the Dragon. I haven't sorted it out yet. I don't know if it's a heat break issue. Doesn't seem like it is, but maybe it is. Basically, I'm jamming with the filament, but I will sort it out eventually. Again, some nice long leads on these. About 2 meters, 6 feet. And there's so much thermal paste here that I don't need to add any for that thermistor. We'll have to find that. Hold on. All right. To get these things tight and snug, I can clean up my hands in this hot end. One. Probably would have been nice if I didn't get any thermal paste on the screw, but it's going to cause me any issues. All right. Put that there for a second. Get a new paper towel. Maybe a little bit of ISO. Looks pretty good. All right, there we go. Up a little bit. The tube squirted out way quicker than I thought it was going to. I made a mess. All right. All right, there we go. Not horrible. I can get off my hands now. All right. So, when you do this, if you do this, be careful. It comes out quick. I don't recall it coming out that quick. All right. There's the skeeter. All right, so we have that. That's going away. This is here. This is going to be here. So, mounting wise. So, like a lot of the hot end mounts, this is friction fit on the bottom side, same as the Dragon. Slightly different with the screw holes because they are it's actually right in the cross section of the two. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It's kind of a weak point, you would think, at least, or it seems like a weak point to me, because those screws are kind of in the gap. But it is the way it's designed, so what it is. All right, so we have our back piece, and let's make sure that these guys are loosened up quite a bit. And then there. One thing I want to do before I get too far along is I'm going to set that little section of tube down there nice and tight. I'm going to, because I know right now that's bottoming out. Right, so there we go. Now we'll get this tightened in. Mm-hmm. Go on that one. And turns on this. There we go. All right, so on your section of Bowden tube that you have right there, just to be helpful, you want it bottomed out, and then it's currently protruding Well, 20 millimeters. So 20 millimeters above and beyond your end piece there. Where you're going to be with that. All right. Oh, let's see here. That's that. That goes there. This is going to wind up on this. Yep. Perfect. And side covered drag chain, front. Okay. I guess at this point, I drag the printer around, right? Make some room. All right. So our mounting on our gantry stays the same. No reason to modify that. There is one piece here that has been added. That's um, part of the print. Basically, a block, and that block is about 4 millimeters, slightly more than that, 4.2. To build out everything a little bit, just the way it comes. Screws in the back of this. They're going to mount everything together. Going to sandwich everything are 30 millimeter. So 30 millimeter screws going from the back to the front. So let's grab this. Before we go too far, let's put some zip ties in that first. I thought I had some zip ties pulled. Yeah, there we go. Zip tie the thermistor in. Heater cartridge. I'm not going to tighten up too much just yet. See where we land with that. I'll cut these a little long so I have something I can still pull on. There we go. All right. So if it's snug in our screws at the top, and it's right there on the bottom, screw that in, it will be nice. And we have extruder set up. Back. Go. That. Okay. Now that we're there, take this thing up. Oh. Might be a little bit off. All right. Somehow. Should be. Second. What's happening here? Through. Oh, that's what's happening. My cable for my induction probe is in the way. All right, no note. Sure you don't clamp that induction probe cable, right? You know, loosely put those in. It's easier. Everything when it's loose. Slide that right up. And that was 20 millimeters long. Be able to go right into that LGX. All right. So that's that. So next thing we do is use our 240 millimeter screws to finalize our shroud on here for our parts cooling fan. Same as we would with any other install. Those get guided through. Those can be cockeyed a little bit when you put them in, so try to make sure they're in there straight, or else you're going to wind up screwing for eternity because they're never going to grab. That. Everything is flush and tight. Good to go there. All right. After that, our actual fans. We're going to put on our afterburner parts cooling fan, top fan right there, which is actually a squirrel fan. I call it a squirrel fan. There's other names for them as well, rotary fan. And then our hot end fan as well. So get that on there. And then you probably already know, but if you don't, make sure these wires do not get pinched when you do your install. There is a little chase here for this. When you're working with the Bondtech, let me get a little closer on that. There's actually a little bit of a cutout right here that makes it a little bit less of an issue because it kind of lines up with where those wires come out. But as you can imagine, that could be a little bit of an issue too. So I'm going to show you another mod that you might want to print off to have when you do a Bondtech mod. And that little mod is this guy right here. This is a little cover plate for that gear on the right hand side of the Bondtech. Now, it's a really quick print. It's literally a flat plate. That's it. It's about the right size to do that. The only oddity on that is the fact that the actual screw is about 5 millimeters. If the screw is longer than 5 millimeters, it will bottom out. You won't be able to use it. And if it's much shorter than that, you won't grab any threads on it. So it's got to be almost exactly 5 millimeters to use that. But let's get that shroud on there and I'll put that on after. Guide these wires. So tempted to put a dab of hot glue or something on that. They always want to move. But again, with this whole setup with the Bondtech, seems pointless to even care. Because the way that extruder's set up. And get you a little bit closer here. Kind of show you what I was talking about with that gear and the problem. So what you wind up having is this exposed gear right here, which is great because you can see it, you can clean it out if you have any problems. If you see any filament marred up inside of there, that's why it's there, so you can kind of see it. But you're going to have a bunch of wiring right here. Wiring next to gear is not such a great thing, so a little tab here. And this will just provide a little bit of protection against that possibility. On that angle, it's kind of hard to see, but basically stops anything from getting in there. Put it over like that. Sorry, with the shaky cam, it's kind of hard to get in these with these tight shots with some of this stuff. Tighten that up pretty good. Now there's no chance of those wires touching that gear when it moves. All right. All right. So now we're at the point where we need to adapt. Again, one of the oddities with the Bondtech is the fact that they're using JST PH 2mm connectors. It's a 6-pin unit, so you're going to have to either purchase or make a modification for your stepper. So I've gone ahead and I've made one here, and basically I followed the wiring out on my original stepper that I used on my afterburner, which I know works just fine. And I coupled that up with the pinout on the Bondtech, and that is matched up with the information that Lineo gives you for theirs. Now, one thing to note, one thing that you can check when you go to make this is, and you'll see here in your Bondtech or on your Lineo wiring diagram, is you basically have two coils inside of this motor. So it can move in two directions quickly. So basically, one, it can drive both at the same time, drive them both at the other direction. It can drive one and drive the other, or it can drive them both separately. So you get little tiny movements. And that's why it's a stepper motor. Those two independent coils allow for really independent movement of that actual motor. So what I want to say basically is you have two coils. Each coil should be able to be multimetered, and you should see continuity between that one coil. So on your wiring, your red and your blue should have continuity, and your green and your black should have continuity. So again, red and blue, green and black. So let me show you what that looks like real quick. We'll do a quick test to make sure that's right. I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. That. Grab my multimeter. This is not guarantee it's not wired backwards, because that could still happen. And just to show here on your multimeter, doesn't have to be anything expensive. This is a old Craftsman that I have. Does everything I really need it to do. But basically, you should have on any pretty basic multimeter a section that has a tone, diode, and ohm symbol on it. And that tone symbol basically is whether or not it has continuity. You're probably going to have a select or a mode button, something like that you'll have to hit a couple times. And the way you can test and make sure it's set up properly is just get your probes together. Okay. So now that we know we have this set up properly, and we also know that we want our blue and red to have continuity between them, because that is the B coil. I'm going to touch one probe, the blue, and the other two red on our modified adapter. And we have continuity. We do the same thing with green and black. And we have continuity. Now, I'm going to put one probe on red and one on green, and I have nothing, which I shouldn't. I'll put the other one on blue. I'll put on black. Again, I should have nothing, which I don't. Blue green, nothing. Blue red, continuity. Green black, continuity. Green red, nothing. Green blue, nothing. So that should be proper to the point where we're hooked up properly to the coils. Put this away. I really got two more things I printed. One I showed in the beginning, which is this top modification piece to make match. Kind of nice, yeah. Makes everything match up. And the second is this guy right here. This is a modified wire shroud. It is here. It is a lot larger than the original afterburner wiring shroud, so it allows you to have your wires in there. It requires a 20 millimeter for the side connected to your Bondtech, and it's also going to connect to the back. If I can situate this the way I need it. It's also going to connect to the back of your Bondtech. You're going to wind up taking two Phillips screws out. Those two Phillips screws on your stepper out. And as these stand coming out, if they want to come out for me, bye. One there. Those screws are about 18 millimeter on those. So we're going to replace them with slightly longer screws. The screws we're replacing with are 25 millimeter. So the reason why we need a 25 millimeter screws is because not only is the shroud, I'm not going to do the wiring right now. I'm going to do that when I everything ready to go here, but your wiring is going to be all tucked up in here. These two parts are going to reach around the back side of your stepper, and it's got little tabs that fit right into the existing holes of the screws you removed. There we go. So first things first, tighten up the screw a little bit. So, and these need to be long because not only, move this around a little further here, bye. Not only are you going through your printed part here, this new shroud, but you're also going to modify your drag chain that you originally had in your afterburner. Now, the only modification really to this is the fact that I've gone away, and you could reprint this if you want to, but all I've done is I've gone ahead and I've sanded off the little tabs that are on the back of this that originally was fitting inside of your stepper motor, because that part now is being replaced with this shroud that's fitting into those holes. So this now can place flat against that. So that being said, So you go ahead and you reconnect your drag chain like that, and you're pretty much done. So just for a quick review look of that real quick. Basically, you have your VORON afterburner right there with your Bondtech with that really nice motion on that. Your new fan shroud, my new mosquito hot end underneath there, and basically a couple of modified parts there in that print. So everything being said, I would say that this is my first mod on the VORON printer. I've done a little light printing here and there and saw right off the bat between the Dragon and the Clockwork on that afterburner, I wasn't quite happy with the responsiveness and I was getting some issues with it. I think my Clockwork was just fine. I still have it. I'm going to play with it a little bit. I do think the Dragon hot end I was using has an issue with the heat break. I haven't really gotten a response from the folks over there on either a replacement. I offered to send it in on my dime to them so they can look at it. They don't need to respond or replace it or anything like that. I just somebody to look at it because I honestly don't think it's working properly. But nonetheless, that's your Bondtech, that's your Mosquito. Those are the parts, those are the screws, how you do it. Everybody talks about the Bondtech being such a great upgrade. Hopefully, we'll see. And we'll get some more video out on that. I got some more upgrades in the store, so hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and hit subscribe. Come back for some more modifications, some printing, and hopefully we'll make some awesome stuff happen. See you next time.